It's showtime, folks. Welcome in, Chase and Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game on this Wednesday. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. Ready to rock and roll today. What's up, JoJo?
What's going on? Shout out last night. You and I went to the Vanderbilt Auburn game at
Yep.
Memorial Gym. I guess it was sold out. What a great atmosphere. It's what Memorial Gym
The
used
magic
to
is
be
back.
in the day. And I know Vanderbilt lost last night, but I'm telling you, man, it was packed. It was fun. And just the excitement it was loud last night. Thoughts and prayers to those who sit around me up in the second level because I can't sit still.
Yeah.
So I move around constantly, like in my seat in my chair. But what a great time. It was fun, man. It made me feel good about like, you know what, there's still something left in our city that's special. And last night was fun.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And even though, look, Auburn's good. Auburn's really good. And Vanderbilt, I think, is obviously much improved than they were the last few years. And in fact, what was interesting is I heard Tim Thompson on with DVD yesterday, their color analyst. Has done that for a long time, and he pretty much said that it's the most talented Vanderbilt team they've had in the last 5 years. They just, Mark Byington was able to turn this around in a matter of months, getting some of these talented players in, and so hopefully they can continue to build upon that. But Auburn's really, really good, and like you said, Memorial Magic is back. I heard a few people say it's good to have that back. They had wins this year against Tennessee and Kentucky at Memorial Gym, so it definitely was a lot of fun, even though Vanderbilt came up short.
All right, so we were in the upper deck. Were you like me? Did you pay attention to Bruce Pearl when he kept crossing the lot, the point you can't cross to go?
I thought he was going to go to center court at one point.
I was hoping he'd go sit on the Vanderbilt bench. It was just, I was watching all that. You know, the configuration is so great at Memorial Gym. I think it's one of the top places in the country to watch college basketball. But that at one point he crossed the line. Finally, he crossed the line, and Byington pointed at the line.
Yeah.
And then I could have sworn Bruce waved at him.
He probably did.
Just waved at him.
Well, what's funny is Willie was there too, and I was joking with him I guess after, he's been at Auburn for like 11 seasons now, I think. He was at Tennessee for
from 06 to 11, so five
or six. So, he's been in the SEC for the better part of 15 years now.
Yeah.
The refs just ignore him. The refs they're just like, when he gets animated,
right.
I was kind of laughing because he had a little bit of a limp. And I'm like, it's all those years of stomping his foot. He had that foot stomp that he does.
I'll tell you one thing that really bugged me last. And look, I love basketball. The basketball, right? It's just fun to watch. But last night, Vanderbilt had, I think it was 3 possessions where they jacked up a 3-pointer, and there was nobody within the 3-point in the paint, in the 3-point land, not just in the paint in the basket, to rebound. I'm like, is that what we do now? Is this what college basketball is? You just jack up threes?
Yeah, it's all perimeter game now.
Auburn was pounding the ball inside.
Yeah, because they had the bigs to do it.
And they had great success.
That was the big difference that really, you could really see it, is Vanderbilt's just small. They don't have a lot of big guys. And that's where the matchup was really tough for them. They had guys that weren't in the game that usually would be in the game for their shooting, but they were trying the matchups because Auburn's just so big, so that was a, something that Mark Byington is going to have to work on. But overall, you got to feel better about the program, certainly, than you have the last few years. So
yeah, it was just, and also I had no idea that many Auburn people cared about basketball.
Oh yeah,
because there's
a big fan base here
with Auburn people last night, packed. But they
with
win
their
the game.
War Eagle chants and all these things.
And after a free throw, AU, right?
Yeah.
That was loud. That was fun. Anyway, it was a good time last night. And so it was fun to see that Magic, although they didn't win, it was still back. And they'll all be back in town here, I guess, in a month for the tournament.
Yeah, well, and here's the other thing, too, and I even heard Jared mention this yesterday on his show, but like college basketball, especially SEC college basketball, is fun right now. The SEC is so good. Kentucky beat Tennessee in Knoxville last night, or at Rupp last night. They had beaten them earlier this year in Knoxville. So, Kentucky's hanging around. the SEC has an opportunity to potentially get 13 teams into the tournament, and I really think they can. But Florida's really good. On Saturday, Auburn plays Alabama. I believe number 1 versus number 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
like and I know Auburn and Alabama have been good the last few years, but like, you know, the basketball version of the Iron Bowl has, you know, like nobody cared. And now I think they do.
That's a big deal. Where's that game? Tuscaloosa?
That game
I think it is. I'm not really sure.
is in just a moment. Is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah. So it's fun. But again, tournament comes here in a month. That's always fun. And then it's weird this year because it's the 1 through 4 teams get a 2-day bye.
Yeah.
And then they'll play to Friday, and then the 5 through 8 get a 1-day bye.
Yep.
And then 9 through 16 play on Wednesday. So I mean,
Wednesday it used to be Wednesday night. That was it, but now you get
that's gonna be a lot of fun.
You get full days. So we'll be broadcasting in the downtown area. Yep.
Down in the
yes, we will.
Somewhere down there.
So stay tuned for that. That'd be fun.
All right, now so you got to explain Daytona to me, all right? Because
it's a city in Florida,
right?
There's a beach.
Is there a race Friday? The truck race?
Yes.
All right, and then what's Saturday?
There is basically starting tonight.
Okay.
There is something every day until Sunday.
Okay.
Qualifying. All right, now let me pull the schedule up. Make sure I got this right. So practice and qualifying. In fact, where's the remote?
It's going on right now.
There's the first practice, I think, is going on right now. So they'll practice, they'll qualify today. Tomorrow is what they call the duels, which are these qualifying races. Daytona is the only track they do this at, you know, well, outside of some of the special races, they'll do heat races. But so you qualify and then you run the duels, and outside of the front row, the duels kind of determine where you start in the Daytona 500. And there are cars that are what they're called open cars, which means they don't have a charter, so they have to qualify for the race. And there's 40 spots, and I think like 47, 48 cars are trying to get into this thing. And so you can race your way in with the duels. Elio Castroneves, who's the IndyCar champ, you know, IndyCar Hall of Famer, is attempting his first Daytona 500, and he's going to get in no matter what, because they've added this rule called like a promoter's provisional. Basically, since he's a big name, that even if he doesn't qualify based on one of those two things, they'll add him as a 41st car if they need to.
Really?
Yeah, but he doesn't win any money. The team don't win any money.
I think you just be able to get it on just because you.
Well, I hope he gets. Yeah, I mean, I hope he gets in. So
was he the one married to Ashley Judd?
No, that was Dario Franchitti. There you go.
Okay,
cars are on the track.
Oh my God, and there's sun shining down there.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yep. So
lucky you do all that. Okay, well,
BK's already smoking. That's good. That's not good at all. So yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team, Junior Motorsports, will attempt to make a cup race for the first time in the number 40.
I think I helped sponsor Keselowski's car.
The Kroger car?
It's Cottonelle.
Oh, Cottonelle. Yeah. Yeah, you probably did.
I
should have stock in that.
I know I've done it. Yes. As recently as Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
There you go. But yeah, so Daytona this weekend, and you can hear everything. We'll have the duels tomorrow night, the truck race Friday, the Xfinity race on Saturday. Those are both on 94.9 The Fan, and then the Daytona 500 will be in its entirety on 93.3 Totally Hits and Sports Talk 830, and then we will have the conclusion on 102.5 The Game after Vandy baseball. So you'll have a couple of options there, but
love it. Which this leads into our question of the day.
Okay.
So, all right, Dr. Crane, I've already told you this earlier, but to our lovely audience out there, our question of the day: what's the fastest you've ever been in a car? Not on a track, but around town,
like on the street.
I'm just curious, what's the fastest you've ever been in a car? I need to know what kind of car it was and where you were going. So there's 3 qualifications. How
Statute
fast?
of limitations is up on some of this.
We're not gonna. Nobody's listening in Metro or any state agencies. We're all good. So the fastest you've ever been in a car yourself, Chase. You go first.
Okay, so this is a funny story. So I was probably 18. Yeah, I think it was 18, 19, somewhere in there. And there was a truck race out at the Nashville Super Speedway. It was a Trucks and ARCA series. It was like in August. And I had some friends that had never been to a NASCAR race that had gone to something in Charlotte. And they were like, yeah, I want to go to a race. It'd be fun. And so we got tickets and we went out to this race. Well, they run the ARCA cars first. And after about 20 minutes, I could tell they were bored. And all of a sudden, there were storms in Nashville, but obviously we're out in Gladeville and the sun is shining. They're like, hey, my mom wants us to leave because it's going to storm. And I'm like, not a cloud in the damn sky. Like we're good.
All right.
And then I kind of figured it out. Like they just weren't having fun. And they were like, no, do you mind? Can we just go? And I was like, are you at what? And so I was pissed. I was like, I don't want to leave, and all this stuff. So we did. And I got on 840 because nobody was leaving the race. Nobody was on 840. And my first car was a 1997 Cadillac DeVille with a V8 Corvette motor, is what it had, a North Star V8 motor. I got it up to like 120 on 840.
Good Lord.
That thing was shaking.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was like, well, I'm not going to get to see a race. I'm going to have one.
Were you worried about cops?
Not when I got to that point. No. And it wasn't long. I was mad and I was like, I just want to see how fast I can get this thing.
100. Good night. All right, Dr. Crane.
Well, I'm the grandpa of the group. I've only gone 80 miles an hour to
Atta
peak
boy.
at a nice fast pace. But
Nani doesn't want you driving fast.
no,
Wait, back up. You've never been past 80 in a car? God bless you. You're like the perfect kid.
Well, listen, my grandparents and my mom and dad really just instilled in me, if you do something wrong, you're going to pay some consequences. So, yeah, especially my grandfather. It just massive. But besides all that, when I went to Italy to visit some family, my cousin Danny, he had like an Alfa Romeo coupe. And he lived in a small little town in Italy and going through all the mountains and streets and whatnot. He's going like probably 100, 110. I'm like, holy Christmas. This is, I was holding on for dear life. We're swerving left and right. It was crazy, but it was fun.
Well, good. I'm glad you're
good adrenaline rush. That's probably the only time we'll do that.
All right. Well, good.
What about you?
I did 111. I used to be a Valley Parker at Opryland Hotel. I told you I was the worst employee that Opryland Hotel has ever had. And me and a friend of mine, Larry, if you're listening, this is true. We took a car called a Sterling.
Yep.
Never seen it before. We got 111 on Brawley Parkway, and it scared the living daylights out of me. Not 120 would have slayed me. 111, when you come down Brawley Parkway and you see on the left, at the time it was Opryland, not Opry Mills. 111, and I just remember thinking I couldn't do this for a while. I'm scared to death. I am scared to death to do that. So 111 in a Sterling. And I think it's because I didn't know what a Sterling car was before then. And that's the only time I've ever seen a Sterling. So
I know a Sterling Marlin, 2-time Daytona 500.
Heck yeah, yes.
Columbia's own.
That's right. So I'm just curious, in honor of Daytona, what's the fastest you've been around town? Because we've seen some fast speeds every single day, man.
So I saw a list. I'll have to see if I can pull it up in my email that Tennessee has 4 natives that have won the Daytona 500. And I was trying to Sterling, Trevor Bayne, and I'm trying to figure out if they're counting DW.
Yeah, because he's not from here.
He's from Owensboro, Kentucky, but he's basically lived here, most of his career.
That's Cuckoo didn't win, right?
I don't think so. I don't think he ever won it.
So
yeah.
It would be, it's got to be.
Yeah, I would assume.
Who else would it be in there?
Yeah, I don't know. Casey Atwood never won it.
No.
He never won anything.
So does winning the 500 define your career?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it defines it, but it's a pretty big deal. Like if you go like Dale Earnhardt Jr., for instance, He's a Hall of Famer not because he won a Cup Series championship, because he didn't, but he won 2 Daytona 500s. That's a pretty big deal.
So I equate it to winning the Masters in golf.
Yeah.
You can be a great golfer, but if you never won the Masters, you're not in that upper echelon of greatness.
Right.
The same, I think, is for the Daytona 500, because my all-time favorite driver is Derek Cope, and you don't care about Derek Cope.
I do care about Derek Cope, but I was, disappointed because Dale Earnhardt was, half a straight away from winning his first Daytona 500 in 1990 and blew a damn tire.
And then Derek Cope's like, "See you later, Dale." It takes it home.
There's a great story about that too. I'm going to see if I can find the clip with that whole thing with Earnhardt. We're up and running here on a Wednesday. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can weigh in on our question of the day. What's the fastest you've ever driven on the street in a car? We'll do that throughout the show. John McClain at 9:30 here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
And that you have to ask this person that they don't want to answer. Now this person's Dale Earnhardt in front of you.
So he comes into the garage area, and I'm standing there beside the car as he pulls in and takes the window net down. And he leans, looks out, and he said, "Tell Winston I'll talk to him whenever he's ready." He goes ahead, he gets out of the car, and some more media is coming up around him, and we're standing toward the back of the car. And he looks at the media. He says, "You guys go over there on the bench. NASCAR needs to get to the car. You go over there, and I'll talk to you as soon as I'm done with Winston." Then he looks at me, and you know how he can kind of pick at you. And he said, y'all ready to do this?" And I said, "Well, they just went to Victory Lane, talked to Derek." He says, "Derek, heck, I'm the store. Y'all need to be talking to me." And then he gives me that grin from under the mustache, just like, "So okay, so far I'm okay." And then could not have been a better interview, and blew me away.
That was from the Dale Jr. download with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Winston Kelly, longtime NASCAR reporter for MRN, talking about 1990. Dale Earnhardt blew a tire, lost the 500 to Derek Cope, and that was his interaction with Winston Kelly after the race. That was a story that I was trying to find. So.
You need, when you speak of Derek Cope, I need you a little more passion in your voice and said, "This guy just got lucky and won." I mean, yeah.
He did get lucky. And
right. That's how you win every race. You get lucky and win.
It's better to be lucky than good.
His first one was 98. Is that right?
Yep.
Because I remember I did a story at NASCAR Cafe when I first started TV, and they were grown men who were crying. And I don't understand this. And somebody said, "One day you will." I'm like,
yep.
And then I did.
I will never. There's. We've talked about this before of calls that, you remember, you can recite, like the Miracle on Ice or a Super Bowl or whatever. Mike Joy, who will be calling the Daytona 500 for Fox this year, has, he's been doing this a long time. He was calling the 98 500, and I will never forget 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. Like, that will always live in my head. And then, just a few years later, after Dale had tragically passed away during the 500, they go back to Daytona in 2001 and July 2001. And Alan Bestwick had the call of using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st. Dale Earnhardt Jr. returns to Daytona to win the Pepsi 400. And those,
there was, if you were able to gamble back in 2001 on that, you would put all your money on.
No, there was no way he wasn't going to go win that race.
Right. I mean,
he was determined. And what's funny is he's talked about that race, that car on the Dale Jr. download, and he goes, "Man, they had that car cheated up so good."
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they all did that. But our question of the day: what's the fastest that you have driven in honor of Daytona, that you have driven in a car on the street, not on a racetrack or anything? A lot of you have wanted to weigh in. Let's go to Mike on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com. Mike, what's up?
Hey guys, good morning.
Morning.
So my first car I ever drove was a 98 Honda Accord. Nothing very exciting, but we were on 840 also. And I think every kid at some point thought to themselves, "Hey, I want to test the limits of what your car might go." And I think I chickened out at like 95. You just pressing the, it was late at night. There was nobody on the road. So it was just like, yeah, why not? So I think 95 is about as crazy as I went. The other dumb thing, though, that I did in that car, which tested the speed limit of the car, was I wanted to see, like, how much I could shoot my car, like, off, like, a ramp situation, kind of like Dukes of Hazzard or whatever.
That sounds smart.
Joe knows, might know where that is. But there's a little hilly area back there. I thought I got enough speed to kind of take my car up a jump, and I got a slight bit of air, but I landed straight into a ditch.
Who did you call when you did that? You had to call somebody.
Well, yeah. So I called our best friend who had a tow truck business. He's like, "Oh yeah, I won't tell your parents," and he immediately called my mom.
And by the way, you didn't chicken out either, because chickening out is okay when you're going 100 miles an hour. It's okay to use that word.
Yeah, thankfully I didn't get seriously hurt with the Dukes of Hazzard thing. But yeah, note to say, you need an straight down is not how you do it.
Yeah.
Your pitch or your ramp's got to have a little incline, not go straight down.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Look, we've all done some dumb stuff
Oh, yes.
in our day, but that's pretty good. Okay, are both these Richards the same?
Yeah, he hung up and thought that we hung up on him.
Oh, okay.
Never.
All right. Well, here we go. Richard, welcome in.
Yeah. Back about 30 years ago, I was a ambulance driver and EMT working out of White House, Tennessee. And we had a kid that had drank a half bottle of Pledge furniture polish,
Mhm.
which is toxic. You cannot induce vomiting because you don't want to risk them getting it into their lungs. Now, his mama was an RN. His uncle was an x-ray technician and one of our EMTs. And I had my regular EMT with me. Well, they all decided we had to get that kid to the hospital down in Madison just ASAP. So I got on the interstate at White House, and with my CB radio, I'd already contacted all of the truckers up through there, and they gave me a go-ahead and gave me the left lane. When I got up to 104 mile marker, was where you drop off 65 down going into Millersville,
Yeah.
I was pegging the speedometer at 100 miles an hour. That was as fast as it would show. And down there around the curve at the bottom of the hill was a PHP friend of mine. And I just went past him, not knowing how fast I was going. We got the kid to the hospital all right. On the return trip, I was talking to that THP officer. He wanted to know what we had, and he was an EMT also. And I told him what we had. Kid drinking a half bottle of furniture polish. He said, "Well, 108, he's only doing 126. When you passed me, couldn't you get any more out of that module?" And this was a truck with an ambulance body on it.
Oh,
Damn.
my gosh.
Oh, Richard, that's great. Thank you for the call.
You're welcome.
Well, Richard, hold on. Did the boy survive?
Oh, yes. No trouble with that. The only thing was we had to get him to the hospital as quick as we could because you could not risk him vomiting and getting that mess into his lungs.
Well, how do you get it out of his body?
They had to pump his stomach.
Ooh.
All right. Well,
All right. Well, thank you for the call, Richard. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we got loaded lines here. A lot of you want to weigh in on this before we get to John McClain. Lance, what's the fastest you've driven?
Well, back when I was in high school back in the 70s, I had a 78 model Z28.
Ooh.
We was at a high school dance, and me and a couple of my buddies, we had a little 6-pack of beer, and we decided we'd get out and see how fast it would go. And this is back in Grayson County, Texas. And we got out there, and we was going about 115 miles an hour and passed this big Mercury Marquise. And when I passed it, it lit up like a half a hill repute. And it was the Grayson County Sheriff.
Oh, no.
And back then, in those days, people didn't wait in the cars. And my friends are sitting there. We got this 6-pack of beer in the floorboard in the back, and they're all freaking out. "Oh, we're going to jail. We're going to jail." And I just told them, "Shut up. Let me go talk to the man." So I get out of the car and walk to the sheriff, and he meets me halfway, and he puts me in that Marquise, and he says, "Boy, you know what happened if you hit something? You know how fast you're going?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I was doing about 115. You hit anything, everybody in that car would be dead." And I said, "Yes, sir. It's kind of stupid." And he gets on his radio and he calls, and I didn't have any kind of problems with the law, and I was playing football and baseball at the high school there, and I worked at night at Safeway grocery store, and I started doing the old poor pitiful me deal and said, "Man, how much is this going to cost me?" And, of course, it's 70, and he goes, "It's going to cost you about $100. And I just hung my head, and said, good Lord. I said, this is going to take me a month or two to pay off. And he goes, well, boy. He said, well, boy, let me tell you what I'll do. He says, I'm going to let you go with a warning. He didn't write anything down or nothing. He said, but any of my deputies, or I catch you again, I'm throwing this one and the next one, and you're going to jail. And I said, thank you, sir. And got out of the car and went back. And the other guys just about, they were sweating bullets. And here I come prancing back to the car, and everything's all right.
There you go, buddy.
Oh,
But,
that's awesome.
but things were a lot different then, you know.
Oh, yeah.
If the cop caught you up drinking a beer or something like that, they took your beer and sent you home.
Yep.
But good, thank God it wasn't these days, or I'd be under the jailhouse.
Yeah, you wouldn't be in it. You'd be under it. That's for sure. Lance, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right. A lot of you want to weigh in on this. We're going to get back to this. We got to get to John McClain, but we will go back to our question of the day. So, you can either hang through John or call back. But John McClain coming up next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasey Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game on this Wednesday. We always enjoy our conversations now with John McClain. HoustonTexans.com is where you can find his work. John, good morning. How's it going?
Going great, guys. Good morning to you. I'm turning my attention to the combine, which is next in the scouting process. Then as we move up to pro days and private workouts and getting ready for free agency, I think March the 12th, and which is a month away. That's always a frenzy. Will be for Mike Vrabel, who has, I believe, 112 million in cap space compared to a lot of teams that are over, like New Orleans is 60 million over and has got to do some serious cutting. And there's always so many interesting storylines going on in the NFL.
Well, and I believe the waiver window will start, and the Titans have the first waiver claim, so that could certainly bode well for them if they so choose to use that. What were your thoughts, though, on the Super Bowl? The Eagles just throttling the Chiefs to win their second championship.
I picked the Chiefs 27-24. I thought there was a chance the Eagles could win, but never had any idea that the Eagles would dominate the Chiefs. I watched the Texans lose regular season at Arrowhead by 8, playoffs at Arrowhead by 9, and even though they have a great tandem of defensive ends in Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, they did not dominate the Chiefs' offensive line like the Eagles did with a 4-man rush, and that's what was the most impressive. And the last time they lost the Super Bowl, they redid their offensive line. The problem they have is their best lineman, Trey Smith, the guard, he's unrestricted. There's a lot of teams will be interested in him, maybe a team like New England to come in to help Drake May. So they got serious issues, and people were blasting Mahomes for a bad game. I saw in the Super Bowl what I've been seeing, what I saw all season with the Texans. As soon as the ball snapped, offensive linemen getting beaten and a quarterback running for his life and not having a prayer of setting up in the pocket. And that's what we saw here consistently. That's the way it was in that game. I was happy Nick Sirianni got the victory. Kellen Moore got a head coaching job. Although if I was Kellen Moore, I would have stayed another season trying to get a better job, because the Saints, I think, with their personnel system being over the cap and everything, is not a good job. But the Eagles, they got their parade coming. It's going to be exciting. It's not like they've been destitute. When they won in the Super Bowl in 2017, it was the first championship they had since 1960. So now it's not, even though it doesn't have the same meaning when you wait that long. Just like if the Titans win one, it'll be the first ever. Texans win one, it'll be the first ever, and that is always the most special.
I totally agree with that. John, let's talk about Pat Mahomes after the game. A lot of people like, well, now they got the blueprint on the Chiefs. As long as I can remember, if you've got a devastating pass rush, I don't care if it's Montana, Marino, Elway back there, they're going to get at you. Chiefs will be back, and you just talked about it. They're going to rebuild that offensive line, but as long as they've got Pat Mahomes, they're always going to be in contention.
Absolutely. Him and Andy Reid. Two of the dumbest things I've ever heard were that, and now this is the blueprint to beat them. Everybody would like to beat them with a 4-man rush and dropping everybody else into coverage, but everybody can't do it. If they could, they would. And they kept Mahomes bottled up, and he was so far behind. All those plays he makes on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, when he's off schedule, throwing the ball underhanded behind his back, between his legs, that didn't help. And by the way, I had a friend bet $20,000 on a prop bet for Hopkins a touchdown with 3-1 odds and made $60,000 at the end. I was so happy for him. Of course, I told him bet on the Chiefs, but he still came out ahead. And so I think that I was stunned that the Chiefs defense didn't play better. But, where was Chris Jones? Where was George Karlaftis? They had been great. And, of course, the Eagles have the best offensive line in the NFL with the best coach in Jeff Stoutland. And so they build from the trenches out. Now, this is a good draft coming up for defensive linemen, but especially on the interior. So maybe, monkey see, monkey do. But there were no revelations. And the other dumbest things I heard is, well, the Chiefs' window is over.
Yeah.
The dynasty's over. That is just preposterous. Joe, for the reasons you said, starting with Mahomes and then, of course, Andy Reid and then Jim Spagnuolo. Now, his defense hadn't been treated like that, but the Eagles were the most talented team in the league. And one thing I know, Chiefs won't be back in a Super Bowl because over the last 30 years, the only Super Bowl loser to return was the Patriots once. And I think you got to go back to the Bills to see a Super Bowl loser who returned besides that one year the Patriots did it.
Yeah. And also, I kind of believe this a little bit. It said the Chiefs' biggest problem going forward is going to be the Chargers. And I'm thinking, I can see that. I mean, is that the next threat within the division, John, to the Chiefs and maybe to the AFC?
Well, I think Buffalo are better than the Chargers. I watched the Texans hammer the Chargers in the playoffs. Chargers got a lot of things they have to do in free agency. I would think the Chargers' time would be better 2026. But when you got your quarterback and you got a good coach, that puts you ahead of everybody that doesn't have a quarterback and a good coach. But I see Baltimore and Buffalo as being the two teams most likely to compete for the Super Bowl if the Chiefs don't go back, and the odds are totally against them.
We will have more with John McClain coming up next. HoustonTexans.com is where you can find his work here on Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063, The Game, continuing our discussion with John McClain. The news came out over Super Bowl weekend, John, that the Jets were going to move on from quarterback Aaron Rodgers. I do believe there's going to be a market for him if he ultimately, wants to continue playing. That's now kind of in his hands. What market do you think there will be, though, for Aaron Rodgers?
I know people have said the Raiders. Well, the Raiders, it would take an experienced head coach like Pete Carroll to deal with his issues of creating controversy. And Diana Rossini of The Athletic reported that the Jets told him if he came back that they didn't want him doing Pat McAfee's show every week because everything he said created controversy. And the next day, everybody's talking about it in the locker room and asking him about it and creating a distraction. And it's all about culture. And I don't know what he said in that situation, but I wouldn't want him going on Pat McAfee every week because I watch him and I know the things that he says. And it also infuriates the local media that he's talking to McAfee for $1 million a year and giving him information he doesn't give the other team. Now, he played better over the second half of the season. It didn't translate to winning, but of course he was coming off of that Achilles injury. And I could not see when people are saying, oh, he should go to Tennessee because he owns a home there. Well, he owns a lot of homes. When you make $50 million a year, you can do that. I think a young coach like Brian Callahan, the last thing he needs to do is get mixed up with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. And no move is made in Las Vegas without Tom Brady. And Brady, he is the antithesis of Rodgers as far as not creating controversy, unless it was something it was always nothing he said. He was involved in a lot of controversy, of course, with Spygate and Deflategate with Bill Belichick. But I would think if you're looking for him as a bridge quarterback, you better have a strong support system with a head coach that can handle him and be ready for him to go into the darkness, to go on vacation during the mini camp that's required. Those are bad things. And I thought last year he had a trip scheduled to Europe. Well, when you make $50 million a year, can't you change that trip? I believe you can change that trip, or go next year, or go the week before or after. So I wouldn't want any part of him, but he wouldn't be on the field. He works hard. His teammates like him, but he is just a lightning rod for controversy.
Speaking of Tom Brady, we saw him call the Super Bowl for Fox, and we know there's stuff with him where since he has ownership of the Raiders, he can't go to certain meetings and all that. Do you think the NFL will eventually basically say, hey, you need to get out of the booth because it's an unfair advantage, or do you think they're just going to let this ride because he's Tom Brady?
Well, they can't tell him to get out of the booth. He signed a 10-year contract for $37.5 million a year, and they've already approved it. They shouldn't have approved him as a minority partner for the Raiders. Mark Davis is smart in this regard, relying on Brady, and he managed to pull it off this year. He couldn't go to the meetings, couldn't go to practice. I don't think it showed. I think like his rookie year in the NFL, he'll be a lot better his second year. Fox used him a lot last week. They had him doing all kind of interviews, and then he was involved heavily in the pregame. So they wanted to see if they get their $37.5 million worth. And now, if the Raiders get good, that's when people are going to complain. Only media is complaining. But if the Raiders continue to flounder, owners aren't going to give a squat about that. But they got nobody to blame but themselves for letting him join the party.
John, somebody texted me and wanted you to ask, what team under the radar do you look 2025 could do big things outside the big 6 or 7 that we always talk about? Is there a team in that kind of lower echelon that you like, the things they've done over the last year or two that can make a jump in 2025?
First of all, I look at divisions, and I think Seattle could be one. I think if you look at the divisions, the West, the top teams are going to be the top teams. It's going to be the Chiefs and the Chargers. You look at the NFC East, they've had a new champion 21 years in a row, so that means Washington will beat out Philadelphia in the NFC East. I see some people online, media people and fan sites. I love these fan sites where that's us, and we so much it sounds like they're speaking French, but there's a lot of them out there. And the Cowboys are saying they're saying for the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl next year, and I'm like, stop right there, give me a break. That was just unbelievable. And so in the NFC South, maybe Atlanta with Michael Penix, that division is not great. And the more I think about it, I like what they've done, but they still need to get pass rushers. So I would say, if I had to pick an NFC, I would say the Falcons. And picking an AFC, I'd like to say the Bengals, but that wouldn't be a big surprise because they got so much talent led by Joe Burrow. I also might say Seattle. But in the AFC, I can't think of anybody from the AFC South. Can't think of anybody from the AFC North. So let me go to the East. This time last year, if you guys go back and look, some people were picking experts, Buffalo, not to even make the playoffs.
Right.
They were picking the Jets and the Dolphins to win that division. So I'd love to pick the Patriots, but I can't do it. They just don't have enough talent. So I'm going to pick Miami because if Tua Tagovailoa can ever stay healthy for a full season, and that's a big if because you guys have seen him going back to Alabama when he's hurt every year, Miami still has the firepower to do it.
I love it. John, Eli Manning, not in the Hall of Fame. Next year, you got Drew Brees, and you got Roethlisberger, then you got Tom Brady. Do you see him going in after that or in the middle of that? I think a lot of people were it was 50-50, like, I can't believe he didn't get in. And some like, yeah, he probably didn't deserve it. He'll get in down the road. Your thoughts?
Eli didn't make the first cut in the room. His the debate with Eli, you have a 5-minute presentation, and then you open it to debate, was 52 minutes. It was the longest of our meeting. And I think everybody believes at some point Eli Manning will get the Hall of Fame. And, he won 2 Super Bowls and played great. Ben Roethlisberger won 2, and one of them, he was awful. They were lucky to beat Seattle. I can't remember. I think it was Seattle. And Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls, and he was MVP. So winning Super Bowls, it takes more than that. And Eli, he's had a 500 record. If he hadn't played his last 6 seasons, he'd have been a first ballot. But and the fact that he didn't ever have an All-Pro, and people say, well, he played in an era of great quarterbacks. Well, so what? And so I think he'll get in eventually, just not sure when.
Going to be interesting to see for sure. John, always appreciate the chats, and we'll talk next week.
Guys, thank you very much. I like to love talking to you guys. Can't wait to get in all the Titans first overall pick talk.
Oh, we'll have plenty of that. Don't you worry. See you, John. John McClain joining us here on the show as he does every Wednesday at 9:30. We will get back to our question of the day. A lot of you wanted to call in and weigh in on that. Our question of the day: what's the fastest that you have driven on the street, not a racetrack, in honor of Daytona coming up this weekend? What's the fastest you've ever driven? 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by Wilson County Honda.com here on Chasing Big Joe, 1025-1063 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063, the game on this Wednesday, 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. And our question of the day, what's the fastest that you've ever driven in honor of the Daytona 500? But first, Joe, you have something that you wanted to get out there.
Yeah, I want to get your instant react. The 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees just came out.
Okay.
So I want your instant reaction. I just literally read this a minute ago. These bands deserve to get in. Bad Company.
I don't know.
All
Probably,
right,
I don't know about that.
The Black Crowes.
Yes.
Mariah Carey.
Yes.
Chubby Checker.
Yes.
Joe Cocker.
Probably.
Billy Idol.
Probably.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yes.
Oasis.
No.
Outkast.
Yes.
Fish.
Probably.
Soundgarden.
Yes.
And the White Stripes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I think
Man.
I disagreed with you on just about every one of those.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think Bad Company deserves to get in. The Black
Yeah.
Crowes do not. Mariah Carey does not. Chubby Checker does not. Joe Cocker does. Billy Idol does not. Cyndi Lauper does.
What's it?
Oasis-
I don't even know what the criteria is anymore.
I don't know. It's not. I don't know. But there we go. That
You
just
don't
came
have to
out
be
5
rock and
minutes
roll,
ago.
apparently.
Right.
All right. We have loaded lines for our question of the day. So we're going to run through these, spend some time on it. What is the fastest that you have ever driven on the street, not on a racetrack, but in a street car? Wes will lead us off. Wes, what's up?
What's up, guys? Yeah, I got a quick story for you, then a little message for Joe. So when I was in high school, I won't tell you how old I was, and if my mom is listening, I just don't want her to call me after this and ask me any questions because I don't want to lie to her face. But we were camping out. We were in a Chevy Cavalier going down a back road, and we had to run to the store at like 2:30 in the morning, so we cranked up some Brad Paisley. And I was just, trying to be that cool kid, so I just on this straightaway just floored it. And we got up to 98 miles an hour before a deer just completely ran out in front of my car, and I just smacked the crap out of that thing. My sunroof was open, and he slid up the car, and the whole head of the deer came through the sunroof and scared everybody in the daggone car. So I got out, and what was crazy was there was just stuff all over my car, his whole body on my car, but was nowhere to be seen. So I don't know what happened to the daggum deer, but that was just a story I'll never forget.
Hold on, back up. Wait, so yeah. You hit a deer at 98 miles an hour and it ran off?
It did. And the funny part about that, Chase, is when I got back to my friend's house, I was telling his dad about it because I couldn't talk to my mom about it. And he said, "Wait, where were you?" I said, "Oh, I was here." And he literally grabbed his keys and took off. I said, "No, you're not understanding. The deer is dead." He said, I said, "The deer's not dead." He took off. He said, "No, Wes, you're not a hunter. Let me teach you something real quick." And he went, and I'll be damned if he didn't come back 25 minutes later with that deer. Apparently, right before they die, they look for the closest body of water, and they just run off to that body of water to pass away. And so he went out there and grabbed that deer and brought it back to the house. And made deer jerky because that's where we're from. And the population of like 1,500 people.
Does somebody have the head somewhere?
That part, I don't know. I don't know what happened to the head. I didn't really ask.
Wow.
But yeah, for Big Joe, man, I just wanted to say this, Chase. I know every day when y'all sign off, Big Joe has a message for all the men out there about mental health. And I just want everybody to know that is not just some bunch of words or some random phrase that Joe says to just make himself look good on the radio. That is something that he really holds near and dear to his heart. He truly cares about that. And Big Joe, I just want you to know, man, I truly, sincerely appreciate you for that. Plus, I got me a 65-inch TV from that commercial you posted online. So,
well done.
Guys, I appreciate y'all so much.
You're a good man, brother. Glad you're still here, Bob.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Wes. Thanks as always. Always enjoy Wes's call. By the way, there's something that maybe we'll find it and can play it at the end of the show that I've been meaning to share with you. So LA Knight, who's a wrestler,
Yeah.
Friday was cutting a promo, and like in the middle of his promo, basically did a PSA for men for mental health.
Good. I love that's being talked about.
It was cool. Jeff weighs in on our question of the day now. Jeff, what's up?
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Good. Hey, I've been driving a company car since the early '90s as a sales guy, and I cover states. And I listen to you guys on the app. But
appreciate it.
The difference between a company car and a four-wheel drive pickup is there's some places you wouldn't take a four-wheel drive pickup. But I worked on Armory Oaks, Armory Drive there in Nashville. I lived down south, and we had Buick Centuries for company cars. And me and my buddy took off heading south to Franklin. By the time we got underneath Old Hickory Boulevard, not for some reason, but the Buick Century cut off at about 123 miles an hour. Both of them. Now this was back in like 1993, 1994, so there wasn't a lot of traffic, and you could do that. But that's my story. I didn't realize Buick Centuries had a limit switch on them at 125. But there you go.
Now we know. I love that. Thanks. Good Lord.
Y'all be good.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate the call, Jeff.
Oh man.
By the way, 2394 says, stick to radio, guys. You guys don't know music. I think it's talking about the Hall of Fame.
Well, we don't know much about anything, but thanks. Yeah. We don't all that.
If you've listened long enough, we don't really know what we're talking about.
We do know that a Buick Century cuts off at 125. We know that now.
Yeah, that's good to know. Fred wants to weigh in on our question of the day. Fred, what's up?
Good morning.
Morning.
Clocked by radar at the Corvette plant northbound 65 at 147.
Yes. Whoa.
All right.
What did the cop say? What, you pulled over, what did the cop say to you? Like, good Lord, son.
I showed him the note from my wife that said my grandmother was passing away that night and she was asking for me. He read the note and said, can you keep it below 90? I'll let you go.
God bless him. Was that truth, though? Were you going to see your grandma?
Yes, I was on my way to the hospital to see her. And he said, do me a favor, keep it below 90. And if another blue light comes behind you, slow down so he can see your car and read your license. We'll let you go. Woo! Twice more before I got through Kentucky. Cops got behind me. I'd slow down. They'd see the car, read my license, turn their blue lights off, and let me go. And I did make it home before she passed away.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you were able to do that. What a story. Thanks, Fred.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. When I was in college, my dad had been in a car accident, and they called me from the restaurant to tell me that he'd been in a car accident. And so I left Murfreesboro and was doing probably 90, 95, going down 24, trying to get to the hospital. And I got pulled over by a state trooper. And I said, officer, I'm trying to get to the hospital. My dad's been in a car wreck. He said, stay on my bumper. I got you. And he took me all the way to St. Thomas.
That's awesome, man.
That was pretty cool. And Dad was okay. Jason wants to weigh in on our question of the day. Jason, what's up?
Hey, you there?
Yep.
Okay, so around 2004, me and a buddy went to Talladega. And that's back when Dale Jr. had a run of like winning 4 races in a row.
Yep.
And we was just excited. We left out of Alabama. I was in a 1995 Trans Am souped up 6-speed. We get on the other side of Montego coming back, and this Corvette started running with us. Next thing I know, we hit it twice back and forth, and the fastest my car would go was 147.
Good God.
And he was right there with me. I would pull away just a little bit, and it was whoever got the first jump. But I think his car only did 147 also.
Only.
He had this huge tub of beer in a back seat. So you can just imagine how stupid we was at that moment. And lucky. So we get to Manchester, and I pull in, and this Corvette follows me, and he goes, man, what? Your car goes as fast as mine. I was like, man, ain't we some lucky dumbasses? But that's my story. And by the way, Bad Company definitely gets in, and Soundgarden does too.
Yeah.
There we go.
You got me convinced on Bad Company, so we're good there.
That's the truth. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate the call. Um, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yes.
Edward, you're up next. Edward, what's the fastest you've ever driven?
Hey guys, my dad lived 6 miles from Sebring Racetrack, so I've been to the 12 Hours of Sebring many times. I've owned one of those new C8s. Currently own a Porsche 911. I've gotten those up to around 100. But Big Joe, back in my high school days, 1979, down Highway 41 South, out of Murfreesboro, we hit 130 in a Camaro. And, I don't care that how fast I go. I like to know how fast I can go. I think that's kind of the reason I buy these sports cars is that you just like those muscle cars. And those are beyond muscle cars, but that's my speed, 130 in a Camaro.
Woo. Okay. All right. That's pretty good. Thanks for the call, Edward.
Thanks.
Yep.
See you.
This is a funny text. Steven on our text line says about 115 in a 92 Honda Accord on 840 before it connected to 65. Hell, Ian may have been with me, and I think he's talking about our Ian.
Yeah, right. That's like the third Honda Accord story. Do Honda Accords go that fast?
Well, maybe that's why Tehran referred to NWI as a Honda Accord.
Because I thought they only go like 60, but they get you there. I mean, yeah, it's not the best perfect ride, but you're going to get there. So I had no idea they went that fast.
This is a text that all of us, I think, can appreciate. My son turns 18 today. We have an app for that poor kid that tells us where he is at all times and if he exceeds the speed limit. That sucks for him. Kids need to be able to do dumb stuff every once in a while. Ha, ha, ha. I'm glad I didn't have that app.
Can you imagine? I've got that app on my son, right?
Yeah.
So I know, and it tells speed and everything. Could you imagine your mom having that in 2005, 6, 7?
I'm glad she did.
Or your parents, or I swear, if I had that app, I'd still be grounded.
My mom would probably try and do that app now. Like, Mom, no. You don't need to know where I'm at.
Oh, man.
And moms never stop loving you.
Never.
That's sure. All right, we'll get more of these calls and texts coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063, The Game, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. Chase and Big Joe broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Taking your calls on our question of the day because it's kind of blown up and we're just having fun with it. What's the fastest that you have ever driven? I said 120. Yours was 111.
111 in a Sterling.
A Sterling. 2133. I went about 109 in my mom's Civic when I was 16.
Are you kidding me?
How do we get a Honda Civic up to 109?
I
think
thought
would fall apart.
Hondas did not go past 75, and like we got 120, 109, 105. Gator Mike went 110 and one. I'm blown away by Hondas.
This is an interesting one. So Corey in Clarksville said he went 170 on a BMW S1000R sport bike. Let me tell you, I was scared as hell.
I'm trying to put the I see the motorcycle, and I just can't imagine going that fast on a motorcycle.
Yeah,
doing that. And was that where did he say he was again? Was he on I-24?
No, he didn't.
Text back, let us know where you were. I'm just curious how fast you can get on a motorcycle, because my goodness, man, that's one pebble in the road, you're done.
Yeah. The fastest I've gone is 125 in a Volkswagen Beetle going to Las Vegas for the Marine Corps ball, but I was running late. Driving that road with the wind hitting that little thing, I don't know how I didn't die.
125
in a Beetle?
In a Beetle. Oh, my Lord. The only Beetle that goes that fast is Ringo.
I see what you did there. I'm just going to let that go.
Just stop it.
My record is eerily similar to Chase. I was 17 to 18 years old in Mom's 2000 Cadillac STS, same North Star Corvette engine. Just wanted to see how it felt to go 100. Hit 106 on I-24 between Smyrna and Murfreesboro. THP got me around the 840 interchange and called my mom. Haven't hit 100 since.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they'll get you. And then that's the worst thing, is the phone call to your mom. Like my first speeding ticket I didn't pay it. And then I came home 3 months later. My mom's like, we need to talk. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm barely passing school. She's not mad about that. That she put the ticket in front of me and said, you're not going to tell me? I was like, oh, yeah, when I moved out. And that was the joke, and I was like scared to death.
2360, the fastest I've ever drove. Not sure, but I'll let you know soon. Going to try it right now.
We're not approving this.
Be careful. Josh and Donaldson said in the summer of 2018, just south of Montgomery, Alabama, hit 145 in a rented 2019 Nissan Maxima. Scared the bleep out of me, but damn, what a ride. You don't need. I've always been told, you speed in Montgomery, Alabama, you go to jail.
Yeah.
No
doubt.
You don't speed in Montgomery.
No doubt. Another place where people speed all the time is coming down Monteagle Mountain into Chattanooga. People are just, I'm scared to, and I like to drive fast, but they're blowing by me at 100 miles. I'm like, good Lord, down the hill? No. You got something to say, Dr. Crane?
I was going to say, they have those little like ramps for the semi trucks that they go up the hill, like the different direction. Because if your brakes end up crapping out on you,
right,
you can go up the hill to stop. I feel like a lot of people that don't have a semi should use that.
Oh, yeah.
It freaks people out.
I sit in my cubicle and watch YouTube videos of about an hour of trucks doing that. It's eerily fascinating. Okay.
Let's go back to the phones. A different Jeff wants to weigh in. Jeff, what's up?
Is this me?
This is you.
Okay. So I was in southeast Oregon, and there's a bunch of basically BLM and ranch land, and it's known for like having no population. So somewhere between Winnemucca and Denio, I had hit about 155 in my Porsche 911. And then I got to the gas station because I was running low on gas, and actually I was happy they had like 93. So I filled it up, and I was all proud about hitting 155. And the guy's like, well, how fast you go? So I told him, he says, oh, I just had 3 guys come by here in a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and I forget what the other one was. And it was a 911 GT3, and they all hit near 200. So with that as a prompt, as I left Denio and headed towards Fields, which is also not very populated, I wound it up to 166. But then I had to back off because I was approaching an area where I couldn't see over the grade, and who knows what's over those grades, right? And so anyway, 166, and it was fun.
Wow, that does.
That's peer pressure, baby.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Well, if I looked also when I hit deny when it said I could go to like 180, and because I wasn't anywhere near the red line, and I would have taken it that far if I had didn't have that grade. I kept going if I could see straight ahead. So anyway, it was fun.
All right,
Yep.
appreciate
the
you.
call. Thanks, Jeff. Matt wants to weigh in on our question of the day. Matt, what's the fastest you've ever gone?
What's going on, gentlemen? So this is years ago, a couple decades, but I suppose my father hit a midlife, and he purchased a Neiman Marcus edition Maserati Quadriporte. They made 60 of them.
Lord.
And it was available because they were out of town. And this is back in Florida. I will tell you that from 595 on the Florida Turnpike, headed south to the Golden Glades interchange, 171, and it still had some to go. Equally, I will tell you probably the dumbest, well, I've done a lot of dumb stuff, but one of the dumbest things for sure was that 171. But more commonly, a 1999 Mercury Mystique 24 valve will do about 119 before the governor hits in, and a 2001 MR2 Spider will do about the same. And you've got to get it going downhill. But 171 and a Maserati Quadriporte. And man, that was too fast. I mean, my hands were glued to that steering wheel, just trying to keep it down.
I'm not getting into a car I can't pronounce the name of, so I'm proud of you for doing that.
Oh, listen, it had a banana interior with, I mean, it was to the nines, as you could expect.
Nice.
A little name placard off to the side. It was number 33 of 60, and he ended up selling it and unfortunately losing on it. But those, they have a Ferrari engine. So I at least got that one out one time, say I did it, and never again.
Wow. Appreciate the call, Matt. Good story.
No problem.
Thank you. We'll continue to take these calls.
I'm getting texts on them right
now.
now.
I mean, this is great. This is I mean, you never know where this is going to go. Do you want to take our next call?
Or let's go to the break. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that after the break. Because I'm sure who knows where this is going to go. We'll do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Wednesday. Having some fun this morning. What's the fastest you have ever driven in honor of the Daytona 500? Hair Metal Henry has an answer to that question. Hello, Henry. What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. In 1985, I got my Toyota Corolla up to 88 miles per hour, and nothing happened. I was so pissed off. Couldn't believe it. But seriously, my buddy Mitch had a C6 Corvette that we went up to the Bowling Green track when they had a festival. This is like 5 or 6 years ago. And you get 4 hours of track time, but you go in 20-minute increments in your group. So you'll go out, do your 20 minutes, come back and line. So we go out with the first group of the day, and they've got a pit.
Oh no!
Oh no! That's what you get for telling. Okay,
he's back.
The first lap of the day, I guess the guy's taking it slow. We barely got the car up to 80 going around this track, and then his wife goes, his daughter goes, his other daughter goes, and then I'm the last group of the day with him. So I guess this guy leading the pace figured, if you've been here all day, you know what you're doing. And he punches this thing at about 100 right out of the gate.
Oh.
And we come into this S curve about 85 miles an hour, and we're talking the whole time. The back end of it slips just a hair, and we got real quiet real fast. And then coming down the straightaway, we got that thing up to about 135 miles an hour before he finally flicked it off. Now, the funny thing was, I usually keep some Pepto-Bismol or something in my car because I have stomach issues. Sure. Man, he got me back to the car, and I shotgunned that thing. Dude, I've never been that nauseous in my life. But, yeah, 130 and a C6 is the fastest I've gone.
Wow.
Glad you're here, buddy. Glad you're still here.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Henry. Appreciate it. Speaking of driving, Clay wants to weigh in. Hello, Clay.
Boys, how we doing this morning?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. How are you?
Now, I think I called in as the donut man again, but Clay's fine too.
Okay. All right.
So, Big Joe?
Yes.
You get a rating as an Uber driver, correct?
You do.
So, what do you give me? 1 star, 0 stars, 2 stars?
Are we allowed to go negative? Or no? Is that not an option?
Now, to answer the question of the day, the fastest I've ever driven. If y'all are familiar with Sneed Road, off of Hillsborough Road, there is a straightaway after you pass going down Sneed Road towards Highway 100. Back in the day, I guess I'm 19, 20. My first car was a hand-me-down from my brother that's 2 years older than me, 1976 Camaro, blue Camaro. I hit, I think, 100 just to see, just playing around. But that's certainly not Indy 500 fast, I guess. But, hey, I certainly couldn't do that last night, could I, Joe? That traffic was terrible.
Clay, can we talk about the 2 women that had to dive in the bushes when you pulled up at the hotel because you were on your phone? I mean, you were just, I love you, man, but you were oblivious to them walking across, and they had to jump back into the bushes.
No.
Yeah, they were sitting, I watched them, and the valet guy and I started laughing because you were on your phone.
Okay, well.
I mean, look, you got me to where I needed to go both times, which is great. Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, it was, and then when you asked me how to get to Memorial Gym on West End, I was like, you know more than I do how to get there. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So don't be down. It's okay. It's a work in progress.
So bad before the games, on 25th. It's crazy.
It is. It's okay. But thank you for the donuts. I mean, you get 5 stars for bringing your passenger food. So thank you.
No problem.
And you get 1 star for staring at me during the drive. So that's okay. We'll work on that.
As I said, at one point, Joe, welcome to my world. I'm out in the traffic every day. It's awful. So
yeah,
I'm still alive. I'm
real
still
quick
good.
before we go, did you find your debit card at Martin's?
Oh yeah. No, my debit card was in my car. So yes, I found my debit card fine.
Okay. And
By
then
the way, my tab for my barbecue sandwich and one drink was paid for.
Okay, good. Why did you argue with the lady at Martin's?
A lady at Martin's.
You said you got into an argument with a lady at the restaurant.
Oh yes. I cannot say what she said to me on live radio.
Yeah, please don't.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Clay.
Miss you, man.
See you, boys.
He's a little upset at my rating.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Offering negative numbers?
I never know where that's
you
gonna go.
You ride with him.
I'm good.
During rush hour when it's raining.
No, I'll let you do that. Austin wants to weigh in on our question of the day. Austin, what's up?
Hey, how are y'all?
Good.
So, I'm a little bit of a car guy, and I've been listening to y'all show for a while. Really appreciate how y'all end the show and everything. It means a lot. But anyways,
thank you.
I'm only about 23, so this is probably about 5-6 years ago. I was 16 or 17. Had an Infiniti G35, which is like a Nissan. And there's this stretch of road between Dover, Tennessee, and Paris, Tennessee, where you're going over a bridge, and it's just a bridge, and you get on one side, cops can't get you on the other side. So I was going down it one night, and I just wanted to see what it could do, and I stopped at 140.
Goodness.
And that's as fast as I've been. I think it was about as fast as I'll ever go, unless I'm on a tractor or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're still here, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too.
Seems like 140 is like the stopping rate. It's like we don't go. Do cars go faster than that? I mean,
maybe. Yeah.
What's your road get up to? About 190?
I doubt that. I don't know. I haven't really pushed it yet.
I think my little Buick might get 60. We'll see.
Starting shaking.
Right.
Coming up next, we will tell you what day it is and celebrity birthdays here on the Chasing Big Joe show. But first, caller number, let's say 3 at 615-737-1025. You'll win a catering voucher to Salsarita's Fresh Mexican Grill located at 2515 West End Avenue. That's the heart of Vanderbilt country. So you know, if you want to have a party or something, it will feed up to 10 people, authentic Mexican flavors, dine-in, pickup, delivery, and catering. Just go to salsaritas.com. Caller number 3, 615-737-1025.
in my life, in my career, I want to be somebody who affects good change before I die. So I'm going to speak to all the men, all the boys here in Memphis tonight and around the world. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If something arises in your life that hits you it hits you in the feels and you have to cry, let it out. It's good for your mental health. It's good for you. It doesn't make you any less of a man.
That was WWE Superstar LA Knight last Friday when they were live in Memphis, Tennessee for SmackDown. Took some time out of his promo to acknowledge men's mental health, which I thought was really, really cool.
I mean, if you are going to cry, let it go, man.
Yeah, it's okay.
If you're going to do something passionately, cry passionately, love passionately, live passionately, let it all out.
Yeah.
I will defend you 100% of the time. If you need to let it go.
Sometimes you just need to cry.
Yep.
I mean, as a man, who cares?
Yeah. All right.
You know,
I'm with you.
No, we probably go lock ourselves in a room or something and, but it's okay.
It is. You're exactly right. I mean, there are moments that it hits you like, a certain smell, certain song, certain person, certain voice. I mean, that hits you is like, my God. And then you just lose it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It is totally fine. I've broken down at the damn Hermitage Walmart one time, which is fine.
You've cried over 312 Pizza Company because of how good it is. That's our deal of the week. So I know that's our deal of the week. 312 Pizza Company serves the best pizza in town as well as Chicago style eats like Chicago dogs, Italian beef sandwiches, and more. Just head to theGameNashville.com/deals now to get half off a $30 gift card to 312 Pizza Company while supplies last. With that, let's get to celebrity birthdays. And what day is it? Brought to you by Jared Companies, Inc., above and beyond industry standards, commercial plumbing and HVAC, all forms of HVAC units, commercial refrigeration, grease trap cleaning, all that good stuff. Visit them at JaredCompaniesInc.com.
All right, gentlemen, today we have Chase's favorite, Hug Day. Starting off the day with the hug.
We love hug.
There you go.
Yes, we do.
Let's see, International Darwin Day. Lincoln's birthday is today. Abraham
Happy
Lincoln.
birthday, Abe.
Let's see. We also have, I don't know that. We're just going to continue.
Say it.
It's just a bunch of letters. It's an acronym for something. I don't know. Yeah. So let's see. National Freedom to Marry Day. So if you're going to get married, go somewhere. I don't know.
Good
go
luck.
To a church. I don't know.
Right.
National Lost Penny Day. If you find a penny that's tails, you know what to do.
They might get rid of the penny.
They should, because it takes 3 cents to make a penny.
Really?
Right. Use it for the copper.
Yeah.
That's right. There are people that collect those.
Penny for your thoughts?
What if it's Penny Hardaway that's lost? You grab him?
Penny Collins?
Penny Collins?
Yeah.
Hold his hand, take him back to where he was. You know, just like, we're gonna go back to Kroger if you were with somebody,
Yeah. Okay.
Like an old person, like a gray
be
alert.
Anthony now.
All righty. Next one we have here is National Plum Pudding Day.
Oh, yeah.
You like plums and pudding? There you go.
I do.
You're my little sugar plum, Dr. Crane. I just want you to know that.
All right.
You're my little pudding pie.
I don't like these little nicknames. It's kind of weird. No,
he's very uncomfortable right now.
We have Oglethorpe Day. It looks like a skyline of something. So
that's what we call David James is Oglethorpe.
Well, all right. There you go, David.
He's a skyline of something.
Next one we have is Paul Bunyan Day.
I don't know what that means either.
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan.
Should have worn my Paul Bunyan shirt today. I didn't.
You ever
know
had
that.
a bunion?
I have. I've got one now.
Yeah.
I get them at the bakery. Good bunion.
Next one we have is Safety Pup Day, and that's it.
Safety Pup Day. All right, time for celebrity birthdays. You got to get these within 2. There's no leeway, no playing around within 2. All right, our first birthday is the great funny Arsenio Hall. How old is Arsenio Hall today?
One of the coolest guests that has ever been on this station.
Yep.
Was Arsenio Hall. 67.
65.
69.
Nice.
Chasers up 1-0. All right, going down the list here. I don't know this guy. We're going down. He was up there. Actor Josh Brolin. Brolin. Not Brolin, like a hamburger. Josh Brolin. Good Lord.
64.
65.
57.
Okay.
He's in a great movie with his dad about steroids. He did when he was like 16 years old. It was so bad. It's awesome. Actress Christina Ricci. She was in the Addams Family and a lot of other things. Christina Ricci. She's one of the Shoop girls.
Yeah, she was Wednesday. 44.
40.
45. Chase up 2-0. All right. Actor Joe Don Baker. He played Buford Pusser. He was also who Fletch hated in like you and Tommy Lasorda. I hate Tommy Lasorda. Joe Don Baker.
Didn't even know he was still around.
Same.
90.
88.
89. That's a push.
Wow.
Country singer Mo Bandy.
75.
70.
81. Actor Michael Ironside. He was in Top Gun.
Yeah.
Starship Trooper. I mean,
Yep.
he is amazing actor. Michael Ironside.
70.
65.
75. Singer Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers, who lives out in Franklin.
73.
77.
73 exactly. Chased up 4-0. We got a lot of birthdays. Actress Joanna Kearns. Wasn't she on Who's the Boss, right? Wasn't she the mom? Yeah, I think
Maybe.
she was.
72.
70.
72 exactly. Chasers up 6-0. I like the beatdowns, man. Keep going. Oh, singer China Phillips of Wilson Phillips.
Ooh. 60.
65.
57. Rapper
All right.
Gucci Mane. How old's rapper Gucci Mane?
43.
38.
45. Chase up 7-0. I like that name, Gucci Mane. Let's see who else here. Oh, author Judy Blume from all the books you read as a teenager. Judy Blume, how old is she?
65.
67.
87. All right, we got 5 sports birthdays for you. Brent Jones, former tight end for the San Francisco 49ers that won several Super Bowls.
72.
63.
62. Dr. Crane's on the board. 7-1 chase. Lincoln Kennedy, former Raider offensive lineman, massive individual. Lincoln Kennedy, great lineman.
64.
54.
54 exactly. 7-3 now.
Dang.
Former Titans quarterback. Former Tennessee Titans quarterback Matt Mock. Hell, starting quarterback
LSU.
Matt Mock.
So he would have started in like 04, 05. 44.
42.
46. Chasers up 8-3. Down to the last 2. All right, Chase. You hate when I say this. You got to get this one. Today's birthday, Brad Keselowski.
Bad Brad. 42.
44.
41. Chaser is up 9-3. We've only in this game have only hit double digits like 6 times. Chase is on the precipice. The last birthday, Chase, RG3. How old is Robert Griffin III?
Oh. 38.
34.
At the buzzer, he's 35. Chase doesn't get it. He wins 9-4. But well done, though.
Justin in Greenbrier says Joanna Kearns was on Growing Pains.
Growing Pains, one of those. But thank you. Yes,
there you go.
One of those shows. Well done. All right, as we end the show every day, thank you to everybody listening out there. We love you guys. And to the guys that are struggling, if you're going through something, please talk to somebody. We talked about at this segment. You got to cry. You got to talk, please. On your cell phone, you can dial or text or call 988. Somebody is always there to talk to you. Don't worry about being embarrassed. Don't worry about being ashamed, because you will not be. Call the number. We're always here for you. Your journey is a beautiful journey. We love you. And more importantly, more than anything else in this world, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll DVD coming up next here on 102.5, 106.3.